One of the boxers with the fastest climb to prominence is Gervonta Davis. His record is perfect at 29-0, and 27 of those wins were via knockout. But also, he has won the world title 3 times at various weights. Thus, keep watching this video to find out what makes Gervonta Davis so powerful. Boxing technique of Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is able to demonstrate his skill as a very excellent counterpuncher because of the fact that he is quite patient. When going up against stronger competition, he loves to study his opponent in depth before he sets up his very pinpointed power shots. Once he has gained an understanding of what it is that his adversary hopes to accomplish, he will often begin to stroll down his opponents in an effort to set them up for his great power shots. In addition, Davis fights with his left hand, which makes it more difficult for his opponents to prevail against him. Also, he lowers his guard in a manner that makes it pretty difficult to anticipate from what angle he will launch the punch that he is about to unleash. Southpaw stance. Due to the fact that Davis is a southpaw, he would often paw out his jab while fighting orthodox boxers. This is something he performs for attacking as well as defensive purposes. When it comes to defense, it's beneficial since it helps to create space between Davis and his opponents, because the majority of them are taller and have more reach than Davis. And when it comes to his assaults, he likes setting up lead left hooks and left straight punches to the body of whomever he's going up against. Because of his savage strength and the fact that the bulk of his opponents are larger than he is, they avoid taking body blows from him at all costs. Attacking the body. This brings us to our second point, which is one of Davis's favorite things to do, which is to launch an assault on the body. The tank has a habit of focusing its early blows on the opponent's body in order to tear them down throughout the course of the battle. This is something that he has begun to do as he has moved up in competition, and there's no question that Floyd Mayweather and trainer Ford have pushed him to perform this approach. As a result of this, Tank is in a better position to set up his enormous power punches up top for later on in the fight. Killer finisher. Now, the aspect of Tank Davis that all of us really appreciate is, without a doubt, his outstanding finishing ability. Gazelle hook, one of his guises, is one of his favorite things to do, and it is also one of his most popular moves. This is a really clever maneuver since it makes it impossible to tell where the punch will fall, because he put a lot of effort into hitting the body in the early rounds as well as his ability to switch up his strikes. Davis is able to coil up the force behind his punch with only a slight bend of the waist and the head, because his leading hand is in a lower position as well. It gives the impression that it could simply be a jab because of how his hands are positioned. One further method in which Davis is able to produce a significant amount of power is via the manner in which he rotates his hips while driving the bulk of his force onto his feet. This is something that was instilled in him at an early age via the process of foundational training. Davis will go on the offensive whenever his opponent is hurt or no longer afraid of him, and as he walks them down, he'll take a defensive stance and slip and block everything they throw at him. Gervonta Davis's opponents and previous fights. Leo Santa Cruz was the opponent who presented Davis with the greatest challenge. In October 2020, Davis executed a crushing knockout in the 6th round against the 4-division world champion, which actually put the boxing world on notice. After spending most of his career competing in featherweight, bantamweight, and super bantamweight classes, Santa Cruz was entering the battle as a fighter who was not nearly as good as he previously was. Also, due to the fact that Santa Cruz has never been renowned as a powerful puncher, and the fact that they were fighting at a higher weight class, Davis was not in any real danger from a physical standpoint. It's possible to say the same thing about Yuriorkis Gamboa, who Davis knocked out with a vicious uppercut in the 12th round of their fight in 2019. It was a decisive victory for Davis. Gamboa had reached his ideal weight, but it was evident that his greatest years were long behind him. Not to mention the fact that a leg ailment hindered Gamboa in the 2nd round, yet he still managed to make it all the way to the championship round. Also, Davis's bout, which was against Isaac Cruz, a fighter whom very few people had heard of before the fight, unexpectedly went the distance, which caused some people to wonder after the fight how good Tank truly is. In spite of this, Davis was able to finish out both Gamboa and Santa Cruz with devastating knockouts that were widely shared online. Gervonta Davis beats his latest opponent, Ryan Garcia, by knockout. Garcia stayed standing before taking a few steps in the other direction. Then he fell to his right knee. And suddenly, one of boxing's most anticipated contests in recent history was over. The lightweight battle ended at 1:44 in the 7th round. Thus, Davis said, "I didn't think that body shot would end it, but I saw his facial expression and that's what made me take it to him." Without a doubt, it was a nice attempt. I was under the impression that he was going to get up, But I like playing mind games, so whenever he looked at me, I pretended to stare at him in an effort to urge him to get up. He did nothing except shake his head and say no. Davis raised his record to 29-0 with the knockout victory, putting himself in a position to replace Canelo Alvarez as the face of the sport. Davis said, "There's no question that I'm the face of boxing." Also, Garcia said, "He caught me with a very good shot, and there was just no way for me to recover. I was having trouble breathing. I had every intention of standing back up, but I was just unable to do it." The battle between them had the atmosphere of a major event, as seen by the presence of celebrities like Julius Erving, Damian Lillard, and Mark Wahlberg, as well as previous champions Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Manny Pacquiao. Davis stated, "Everything about this was exciting," and he was right. He added, "I couldn't have asked for a better time to be a part of this event. When I was just starting out in the Golden Gloves, I remember going to the MGM and seeing Floyd Mayweather fight. It was out of control, and I said to myself, that's going to be me one day, and here we are." Gervonta Davis's next fight. Davis is fresh off the most significant victory of his career, which came when he knocked out Ryan Garcia in the 7th round. Therefore, there are a lot of different opponents that Davis might face in this next bout, which would help him maintain his high-profile reputation. Some of the names that have been brought up in conversation as potential opponents for Davis in the future are Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Vasily Lomachenko, and Isaac Cruz. It was stated by Gervonta Davis's trainer, Calvin Ford, that Davis is interested in challenging David Haney for his undisputed lightweight belts in their next matchup. On the other hand, Haney is actively seeking a bout in the super lightweight class at this time. So Isaac Cruz was also mentioned by Ford as a potential replacement for Davis in the event that the bout with Haney does not take place. Cruz is the only boxer to date who has been able to survive 12 rounds against Davis, which he accomplished during their bout in December of 2021. In addition, the WBC has designated Shakur Stevenson as the obligatory challenger for both of Haney's championships. However, if Haney gets promoted to a higher weight class, it is probable that Stevenson may need to find other opponents. Despite Vasily Lomachenko's defeat at the hands of Haney, the majority of fans and members of the media awarded Lomachenko the victory. Because of his recent victory, Lomachenko is now in a better position than ever to be a strong opponent for Davis in terms of selling pay-per-views. Given the number of contenders now in the running, it will be fascinating to see Davis make his decision over who will face him in the battle. Share your thoughts on whether or not you believe Gervonta Davis is unbeatable, as well as the reasoning behind your opinion in the comment section below. And that wraps things up. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.